A statement is a true statement provided that it is true in all cases. If you can find one case for which a statement is not true, called a counterexample, then the statement is a false statement. Okay, so for example, we identify if this statement is true or false. If a number is divided by 5, then it is surely divisible by 10. Okay, so if we consider here the number 30, 30 is divisible by 5. So it's because if you divide 30 by 5, that will give you 6. So it's divisible by 5. When you say divisible by 5, ma-divide mo siya sa number na yan, tapos kailangan walang remainder, no? So sakto lang siya dapat. Okay? So 30 is divisible by 5. So kung divisible by 5 ba daw siya, divisible by 10 ba siya? Okay? So take note no that our number here is the number 30. So is it divisible by 10? So 30 divided by 10 is 3. So there is no remainder. So meaning 30 is divisible by 10. And so meaning ang 30, okay, so 30 is an example. So example siya sa statement na ito. Pero hindi yan siya counter-example kasi nga nag-follow siya no, sa statement na ito. Okay, pero kapag i-consider natin yung number 35, alright, so number 35, okay, is 35 divisible by 5? So 35 divided by 5 is 7. So sakto siya nga 7. So hindi so it is divisible by 5. Is it divisible by 10? Okay, so 35 divided by 10, that is around 3, remainder 5 or 3.5. No? So kapag mag-divide ka ng 10, that is 3, so 30, tapos minus. So meron kang remainder dito, no? Remainder na 5. So ibig sabihin, 35 is not divisible by 10 kasi nga may remainder siya, no? So 35 is not, hindi siya divisible by 10. Alright? So ibig sabihin, itong 35, no? Itong 35, nagkaroon siya ng problem dito sa second statement. Doesn't mean na kapag ang number pala ay divisible by 5, then that number is divisible by 10. So, ang ating number na 35 dito, ay tinatawag yan siya na counter, no? Kabaliktaran, no? Counter example. Alright? So, 35 is a counter example. Remark, if you cannot find a counter example, so kung for example na marami ka ng binigay na number or binigay ka na marami ka ng binigay na number, tinest mo doon sa statement tapos wala ka talagang nakita na counter example. Hindi ibig sabihin na ang statement na yon ay alright, it doesn't mean that the statement is true already. Okay? Kasi nga wala kang nakita na counter example. So kailangan mo ng proof para masabi mo na yung statement na yon ay totoo nga siya for all cases. Let us have another example. Let x be a real number. Give a counterexample to each of the following statements. Una, x is less than 0. Alright, so a particular counterexample could be a number that is not, no, hindi siya less than 0. Ibig sabihin, mas malaki siya sa 0. So, for example, x is equal to 2 kunyari. Okay? Kasi kapag i-replace natin yung 2 dito, no, sa statement na ito, magiging ano yan siya? Magiging 2 is less than 0. So replacing x by 2. So is 2 less than 0? It's not, 'di ba? Because 2 is always greater than 0. Therefore, this statement is a false statement. So nagmali na siya doon, no, sa number sa x is equal to 2. Therefore, 2 here is a counterexample. All right? So 2 here is a counter example. Okay, next example, x squared is greater than 0. Let us try x equals 1. Okay, so if we substitute x is equal to 1, x squared will become 1 squared. Alright? Is it greater than 0? Alright, so 1 squared is equal to 1, and 1 is greater than, is it greater than 0? Ang 1 ba mas malaki sa 0? Yes, correct? Therefore, this is a true statement. So, true ito. Ibig sabihin, 1 here is not, this is not a counterexample. Kasi nga, naging true siya, no? Kung i-substitute mo yung x is equal to 1 dito. Alright? Let us try another one. Let us try x is equal to 0. Kung 0 siya. So, this one will become 0 squared is greater than 0. Alright, so ito magiging 0 squared is 0 times 0. So 0. Is 0 greater than 0? And this one is a false statement. Because 0 is always equal to itself. It cannot be greater than itself. Therefore, the value x is equal to 0 here is a counter example. So meron na tayong counter example. Counter example. Ayan. So a counter example is the x is equal to 0. Therefore, this statement is false when x is equal to 0.